Coloring books have surged in popularity, offering a delightful escape into creativity for both children and adults. While filling in the lines can be enjoyable, mastering the art of coloring realistic shadows and highlights can elevate your work from simple to stunning. To achieve this, understanding the interplay of light, color, and depth is crucial. The first step in creating realistic shadows and highlights is to observe the light source in your coloring page. Identifying where the light is coming from will help you determine where shadows will fall and where highlights should be placed. Typically, light sources are positioned above or to the side of the subject. Once you establish this, visualize how the light interacts with the objects in the scene. Areas that are directly facing the light will be brighter, while those that are turned away will be darker. When selecting colors, consider the base color of the object you are coloring. For instance, if you're coloring a yellow flower, you might start with a bright yellow for the petals. To create depth, choose a slightly darker shade of yellow or even an orange for the shadows. This technique of using varying shades of the same color helps maintain harmony while adding dimension. For highlights, you can opt for a lighter shade, perhaps a creamy yellow or even white, to give the petals a luminous effect. Blending is an essential skill in achieving realistic shadows and highlights. Using colored pencils, for example, you can layer colors gradually. Start with your base color and apply it lightly. Then add the shadow color in the areas where the light is least direct, using gentle strokes. The key is to build up the colors slowly, allowing the layers to blend seamlessly. A blending stump or a piece of tissue can be used to smooth out the colors, creating a soft transition between shades. For markers, you can achieve a similar effect by using a lighter marker to blend into the darker areas, or by using a colorless blender marker. This technique allows you to soften the edges and create a more realistic appearance. Another important consideration is the texture of the object you are coloring. Different surfaces reflect light differently. For example, metal shines brightly, while matte surfaces absorb more light. If you are coloring a shiny object like a silver spoon, you'll want to incorporate stark highlights and deep shadows to mimic its reflective quality. Conversely, for a textured surface like fur or fabric, you can use short, directional strokes to suggest texture while still applying shadows and highlights appropriately. Don't forget the background, as it plays a vital role in the overall composition. A well-chosen background can enhance the realism of your subject. If you're coloring a landscape, for instance, consider the time of day. A sunset scene might have warm orange highlights and cooler deep blue shadows, creating a striking contrast. This approach not only grounds your main subject, but also adds an atmospheric quality to your work. Lastly, practice is key. Experiment with different color combinations and techniques on scrap paper before applying them to your coloring book. Take the time to study real-life objects or photographs to understand how light and shadow interact. Try to replicate these effects in your coloring. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become with the subtleties of color and light. In conclusion, coloring realistic shadows and highlights is an art that can significantly enhance your coloring book experience. By understanding the light source, selecting appropriate colors, mastering blending techniques, and considering texture and background, you can transform your pages into vibrant, lifelike images. So grab your coloring tools, let your creativity flow, and watch as your coloring transforms into a captivating work of art. Subscribe to PaintTune for more informational videos related to painting and coloring.